You're listening to the We Are Libertarians podcast network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com.
What if Galaxy AI could turn your to-dos into to-dos? Unlock everyday simplicity with the AI-integrated Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra at Best Buy. Pre-order now at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
Hey guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? Oh my God, it's the coolest thing ever. It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere nationwide. I've never found a more perfect Valentine's gift. They ship Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garten's famous cakes. Seriously. So, if you're looking for a Valentine's Day gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT.
Hey, and there is White Blood Chris, the whitest boy in the land. Named Chris.
Well, I just
well,
in,
no.
in the land.
Christopher Columbus probably was the whitest boy in the land.
Well, wasn't he Italian? I mean, that's...
good point.
Italian is Mediterranean. At least he had the ability to tan. So, and my people are German, so I don't even know what... So, I don't even know what the hell's going on. So.
I got you. Oh, but you had red hair. May I think you might have mentioned that before, but I thought maybe because you had red hair that I thought maybe you were Scottish or Scots-Irish. So you all Durham?
We have not... my sister did the thing. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And we were like British and German and like Norwegian or Swedish or one of those. They're all the same, right?
When you go over there, I visited there when I was 17 and I went to Sweden. And bro, I was like, hey, what's up with, Oslo? Is that cool? Hey, we don't go over there. We don't mess with this. Now you want to go there, bro? You're in Stockholm. I'm like, dang, dude.
They love to fight with each
there,
other.
Bro.
These people are like Denmark will fuck up Belgium. I don't know what their problem is.
I was weak as hell with. Oh man, I was like, okay, damn.
What did you go over for?
I went over it's almost been 10 years. It's been almost 10 years exactly. When I was 17,
Old.
I know. When I was 17, myself, another friend of mine named Maggie, and another girl from my school, we all had the opportunity to go over to our sister school in Sweden. Like we had some kind of, so what we had was a program at my school that you could do like intensive study in some kind of field, or you could travel. So my senior year, I decided to travel with two other girls during this like we called it winterim because it usually occurred from like October to like Thanksgiving-ish. Now my school has like completely gotten rid of that, and now they have 4 per year, and they have like one. Yeah, it's crazy now. I apparently my neighbor.
Yeah, let's go to Sweden in the winter time.
Oh my God! See, and then I watched like one little dinky ass like Anthony Bourdain episode, and I was like, I got it, bro. I pretty much got it.
Where he's like getting rubbed down. Maybe that was Finland, where he was like getting rubbed down by some fish oil, and then they're like eating smoked halibut. And I'm like, this place looks barbaric. What the hell?
I don't know if it was that one. I remember he went to this sausage spot because in Sweden they have like a street food that's basically like a hot dog, but instead of just our regular toppings, they put mashed potatoes on it. And you would think like, what? But that Midwest hit, the Midwest hit us. It's like, I shall try. And it was good.
Nice.
Man. It slapped.
Well, we are talking, so make sure you follow both Full Metal Ratchet here on Stereo. Follow me. We are so excited for you to be here. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about medical marijuana. I almost called you by your real name. I don't know if that's allowed or not.
Yeah, Aja.
Okay. My buddy Aja here is a great up-and-coming creator that I love watching. And I every time I turn on the app, Miles is talking about the pat down and you, and I tuned in last night, and Miles is like, and my buddy, my partner in creativity. It's very sweet. He's very sweet. And so we were. I just love talking to Aja, and we were trying to come up with some ideas. And so one of the ideas that she wanted to talk about was medical marijuana. And are you a pothead fucker?
Sure am, bro. No, I love that. I love being the parents. People should be looking at you like that too, and I'll be like, "Oh no!" I also feel like Robert De Niro be busting down, bro.
Before we dive into the meat of this, let's take this call. Let's see what this person has to say. Oh, here he is.
Aja went to the whitest school in Ohio.
I don't know about in Ohio.
That's your buddy Miles. What? Yeah, so, that is a good question. Was it a high school or a college that you traveled that had winter retreat in Sweden?
It was it's an independent private school. They actually go from 3 years old all the way up to high school. So it's one big school.
Damn.
Yeah.
Aja,
I went there from sixth grade till I graduated.
Were you privileged?
I wasn't privileged. Yeah, I was a scholarship kid. But yeah, you look into a little privilege as well. Like I didn't know about this school until I was about 11. I saw a billboard for it. My mom and I tested, and I guess they were like, "Ooh, diversity, please."
Yeah. Nice.
And I've been there ever since. That's where
Did you get like a great education, or how did you feel about your education?
The education was good. Our public school system, which my grandmother worked for the entirety of her career, she even felt like was kind of declining in my area. And when I was in public school, I enjoyed it a lot, but I was in a smaller kind of charter school / semi-private education my whole life, if that makes sense. Kind of just either Catholic school or like I went to like a kind of newer charter school, but I always loved school. I always loved learning. I'm an only child, so I'm very much a nerd. I never had like anybody to kind of beat that out of me. You know what I'm saying?
Why? You should. Listen, nerds rule the world now.
They do. They do.
You're so funny. No, I am. I always tried to pretend I wasn't a nerd. Because when I was, I work in radio, and like when you want to do broadcasting, you got to try and be cool. You need to be rock and roll. You need to be hip.
I got you.
And I am just none of those things. Like I spent the day reading a book about this. It's called Taking Smarter Notes, and I was really into it, like how to take great notes
out.
And I'm not like I am going to college, but I'm just like, ooh, this book about note taking and research is great. Like I just had to admit that like I'm a fucking nerd and I love to read and that's my thing, and I need to embrace it and stop trying to pretend that I know anybody who performed at the Grammys. It's over for me. I'm middle aged.
I only knew about 20. I knew Meg the Stallion. I knew Cardi B, and that was about it. And I was like, dang, I knew Dua Lipa because of TikTok. But the other ones, I knew none of them. Not a single one. So I don't need to. So don't feel that bad because they snuck them in there this year, bro. I'm like, who?
So you're a nerd, and nerds to me didn't. And so I've never smoked pot. I don't know anything about weed. It's starting to really get pushed forward. New York is going to have recreational marijuana.
Yeah.
Here in Indiana, we don't have it. We're in the state next to you.
Yes.
You're in Ohio, and Michigan and Illinois have medical, and I believe and recreational. Yeah. And what does Ohio have?
Ohio has medical and decriminalized. Okay. So if you have an amount on you that is not medical, it's decriminalized. You can't. It's counts as a minor misdemeanor. That's the charge, I guess, if you were to be caught with an amount of cannabis on you.
Okay, so Indiana has like Lily's and DePuy and Anthem and like all these major medical device makers, medical insurance, pharmaceutical companies, And Indiana is just beholden to that money in terms of their politicians, and so they don't even touch it with a 10-foot pole. So the state police estimate that 1 out of every 250 cars that comes across the border is bringing pot into the state. And privately, they'll tell you it's probably more like 1 out of every 100. And when you go into a dispensary in Illinois, for instance, it is mostly people from Indiana buying. And because people go to their dealer to save money because they don't want to pay taxes. There's, that's the funny thing about Colorado is people aren't making a lot of money in those dispensaries anymore because people are like, oh, it's too expensive. I'll just go to my dealer.
Yeah,
right.
It's
So it's
balancing out.
all
The market's balancing it out.
But it's going to happen, and Biden says, it kind of leaked that he doesn't want to do it because he's afraid that the boomers will abandon him and vote in Trump if he legalizes marijuana. And I'll be honest, even as a libertarian, because libertarians have long just been like super pro pot, we never talked about it. Yeah. But, I remember saying to candidates 15 years ago, like, do not talk about pot. Like, it's just the thing that but now I can't believe how much it's changed. And to find out that you have medical marijuana in Ohio, which I didn't even know till right now, is amazing. So I wanted to talk to somebody who has some experience with it and the whole process. So I guess we start way back in your private school in your nerd days. and the first time, were you smoking behind the duvet or whatever French word you
French words.
Yes, I don't know what you guys do in we have park tutor here, so it's very much like that. So when was the first time you smoked pot? I imagine it was illegally.
It was illegal, yeah.
Tell us about your first dance with Mary Jane.
First dance with Mary Jane. Oh man, I love these non-smoker pot terms. You be sounding like my dad and stuff. Too, he be the song called me Cheech and Chong too. He always has these super old weed references too. But I'm very open with it about with my family now. But that is absolutely not the case. Had it been a few years ago. So when I was let me think of the first time. I was probably about 16. I wasn't a young smokers like some people who started maybe 13, 14, 15. I was actually kind of anti. It was more of the jealousy thing because I had a little crush boyfriend at the time who wanted to kind of smoke with his friends and not hang out with me. So I was like, anti-pot. So because I was being a little girl. And then I tried it maybe when I was about 16-ish. And I don't know if he's listening, but we have another friend whose name is Luke. Shout out to Luke. Luke was actually one of the first times that I smoked ever. And we were not on school property. Not there, definitely not on school property. But so I remember it was. So I don't know if you have any understanding of how cannabis is or marijuana, however you like to call it. And
I saw it for the first time in college. Okay. I was delivering pizzas at Donato's, and the manager had weed and they were rolling joints, and that was the first time I'd ever seen it. Because me and my friends we made wrestling videos. We didn't even drink. I've never drank alcohol. I've never tried pot. I've never done anything illegal in my life. But I saw it and I knew that it was it looked like a little green flower and it smelled horrible, and then it smelled even worse when they lit it on fire. And the only other experience is one of my neighbors smokes weed a lot, and my apartment through the day smells like weed, and that's the two things I know about it. But I know you can smoke it in doobies. I know you can.
The 70s. It's like there's a 50-year pot gap in between the culture. It's like Cheech and Chong, and then now.
Oh, my other experiences. I sold a TV to. So there's this company called High on the Hill that sold paraphernalia, and I went to this lady's house who was affiliated with it somehow, and it looked like a commercial house, and I walked in and it was a commercial kitchen for copious amounts of brownies, edibles. It was hilarious. So I just, like, that's so you're going to have to, like, really break it down for those of us who have not, walked on the wild side, so to speak.
Absolutely. So there are, the active chemical in cannabis is called THC. That is what gets you a psychoactive experience. So the first time I ever, experienced the THC high was when I was about 16 in the summertime with a friend named Luke and another friend of ours. And I smoked it out of a bowl, which is the ground flower, which probably what you see. That's what they put in the doobies, as you say. They put the ground flower material. So if you were going into a store or ask someone, you would ask for flower. If you wanted just the buds you would grind up, like in some kind of grinder, or you could cut it up. But a grinder made out of like metal, or I think carbon or something, titanium usually, I think they're called. There's a brand called Titanium Crush or something like that. But yeah, you take your small buds, you would put it into the grinder, grind it up as you would like fine until it's like kind of the consistency of, like a ground herb. And then you would put it into like a pipe or a bowl or a bong, or you could roll it up in a paper and smoke it. So I think I had mine in a little pipe or something like that, which is funny now because Luke is he actually makes glass pipes. Professionally, he became a professional glass blower, makes pipes, makes light bulbs, and has really decided, hey, I'm going to get into the industry, get in. I was like, let's go, boy. So
is there like a bong, a pipe, rolling it edible? Like, is there an experiential? I know that there's different strains, like there's sativa and indica, and there's two very different experiences. Yeah. But like, is there like a different experience when you use it in different forms?
Yes. So if you are smoking a joint as opposed to smoking out of a bowl or a bong, I think, yes, you would get a little bit of difference. Sometimes depending on what the material of your rolling paper, sometimes if it's made out of, some people smoke things called backwoods. Have you seen backwoods in the grocery store or in the gas station behind?
Mm-mm.
So a backwood is a type of rolling paper. It's made out of a tobacco leaf, like a full leaf, and people smoke those, A, to avoid that paper, but B, that it gives them that kind of tobacco buzz. And some people also, before, I think they're now illegal, but there also used to be flavored papers. I think there are all different kinds. So yeah, the method that you use to smoke with can definitely change the feeling. Yes, because some people add tobacco, some people take if you're smoking it out of a bong or a bowl. Some people take really big hits, depending on the size of the bong or the bowl. It just depends on the size, how much you're inhaling, how much smoke. Sometimes if you're just holding a joint and letting it burn, some people consider that wasteful because you're not inhaling the plant matter that's just being smoked up. That's why some people kind of stray away from joints and blunts. But other people who, probably are a little bit more open to smoke anywhere or in their homes, which I don't. It's probably a little bit different. But for me, now that I have a medical card, I primarily vape. So you can have concentrated THC that they extract, and we can get into extracting and everything because that's very fascinating to me. But basically, they extract the THC, the active chemical that's in cannabis, right out of the plant in different kind of ways. So now you can vape, you can eat it, and you can mix it with, I've seen infused water. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how they did it, but they take the THC and THC is fat and water. Not necessarily water soluble in certain ways, but I think they found a way to infuse it in water. I've seen infused water. It blew my mind, but it's fat soluble. So that's why it's good in butters, in creams, in anything that THC can infuse in that fat. That's how
you would. Okay, so
how.
they mix the fat with the THC, like the chemical, or is like marijuana the plant naturally, does it have a fat in it, like an avocado oil or whatever?
Yeah. Yep. So anytime so that's why I guess you're seeing more, at least me, I'm seeing more and more diverse kinds of products. It's like, oh wow, that's infused. And now I don't know if you're seeing on Netflix, they're even having cooking competitions where all of the dishes are infused.
Nah,
Yep.
that's
and
weird.
Then they had some, I would love to see who on that too.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, we'd have to teach her to cook.
No, she would be a guest. She would judge.
Oh yeah.
They have comedian judges. I was like, oh. I think it's called what's it called? Baked or something? No,
Baked.
Cooking on High. Cooking on High. That's what it was called. Cooking on High.
Well, it's so fun. So, and we're here on the Stereo app. Please feel free to follow Full Metal Ratchet or myself at C Spangle. Follow us both here on Stereo. Love for you to comment. If you got comments or questions, please leave us a comment here. It is interesting to go from, I'm 37, so I'm probably like 10 years older than you.
Exactly 10.
Yeah, so when late 90s, early 2000s, you've got Jim Brewer's movie Half Baked with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
You've got Cheech and Chong. Like, you have very stereotypical, like, portrayals of weed and pot. And, so it was still very taboo, and it was the gateway drug, and you had Dare. And so, listening to all this, it feels like even having the conversation, like, I'm promoting something illegal. I'm doing something wrong here. Or, so to like fast forward 20 years, and there's so many issues like that, I can't wait to see what society is like, at the end of my life, because,
same.
Being born in 83 and coming up in the early, coming up in the 90s and being, kind of forming my opinions in the 2000s, like, look at the things that have massively changed in 10, 20 years, things like gay marriage, things like attitudes towards weed.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that marijuana policy is just everybody wising up. Like, the thing I was so surprised about in the 2000s was how many adults I talked to in my regular life that smoked pot.
Yeah.
Or do now do edibles. Like, it was way, like, to me, it was always something that you did that, that the burnout kid did, right? It was like your parents told you not to do this, and if you do this, you won't be successful. And then when I got into my 20s, it's sort of like guns. Like, guns were always scary to me, and this isn't like a terrible thing. And then when I got around gun owners and went to gun shows and went to ranges, I was like, oh, these people are, like, very serious, very, like, calm, cool, collected, safe. Like, it's a different thing. And weed is one of those things that, like, hearing you talk about a TV show, my 2002 graduating ass just cannot imagine going back in time and saying, like, one day within 20 years there will be a TV show where they're, like, creating baked goods on a competition show on Netflix. And like, it's so cool to see how quickly attitudes can change towards things. And, like, this is one of those things where I think people just kind of, like, I'm just going to stop pretending that this is a bad thing, because it's not a bad thing, and nobody dies, and it's not a gateway drug, and it's not, it shouldn't be a Schedule I drug along with heroin, which is,
I know. Oh, that's a ridiculous.
Killing tens of thousands of Americans, a Vietnam's worth of deaths a year. It's not even remotely close. And in fact, you have, so before I ask you about the medical side of it, let's take a couple comments here from folks. This is Reformed Scotty.
Hey, Chris Spangle. Hey, everybody in here. How y'all doing? Just tapping in. Medical marijuana. Full metal. What are we talking about with medical marijuana? I'm curious. Tap me in, people. Oh, that's your name, Full Metal Rap. I'm tapped in. Okay, hey, it's the Stereo Awards in an hour, man. In like the
You might
next
be
40 minutes. Hope to
too,
see y'all there.
so.
You know what I mean? Some taps and
There's
claps. Like I'm doing right now, though.
there's like a stereo. Oh, we better win an award for this show. To be honest with you,
We better.
okay. So I'm friends with the guy who was a longtime head of Normal. His name's Steve Dillon. He's based here in Indianapolis. He's been interviewed on my show.
Sweet.
And they were very smart in the 80s to push it, especially starting in California, on the medical side. And, that's how it was sold when I was coming up, that this is medicine and this is helping people, like my good friend Joe, rest his soul, who was a big advocate for medical marijuana here in the state. And I always thought that was a very smart and interesting way to kind of like soften people's ideas towards weed from it being something wrong, the attitude that I just outlined, to something to being more beneficial. But I have to be honest, and I'd like you to correct my opinion on this. I always was cynical about it because, like, okay, marijuana is a medicine, right? Like, is this just a sneaky way to get it legal? Like, what are the benefits of medical marijuana? What does it actually do? Because it's sort of like the essential oils people who are like, oh, this cures cancer. Like,
oh, we're not like the oils people. I would say with oils.
I've seen it. Like, you need to legalize cannabis because it will save humanity from 200 diseases.
Okay.
Like, what are the benefits of it?
I love weed. I'm not going to say I love cannabis. I do. And I wanted to get a medical card because of two reasons. I wanted to be able to enjoy what I enjoy legally. And two, I actually do have I have scoliosis, and I also in 2019, I had a breast reduction. And I went from I know.
Would you tell people that? Do you get that reaction?
People, I love to mess with people. Imagine having that conversation with your dad too. And I was like, "Hey, Dad, all right, I'm making a decision." And he's
okay. Listen, you are, funny. and I can't imagine because you're still very blessed. Like I can't imagine. Like,
oh, bro. I went from an H. Yes, they make H's. A hitch.
Wow.
Yes, at my height and weight, which is at the time was probably what I'm 5'6", 5'7", and at the time I was probably about 145. Yep, 145.
Wow.
And yes, and
good grief.
I know, and it's a genetic thing. My cousin has had it. My aunt has had it done. It was just something that I was like, all right, listen, we gonna get this done. And I think my mother was a little apprehensive just because surgery. But my employer at the time, I combed through like a lawyer, like the Watergate. Like the Watergate papers. I combed through my policy and my job and the insurance, and I got them to cover 80% of it. And I found out, and I was like, have you ever seen Sister Act 2 when he hits that high note with Jesus love? That's how that was me. I was like, oh, happy day. So I was happy. And so, I got it done. I paid it off completely. And it was probably about to get, but I say all this to say that the neck and spinal issues called cervalgia. You have, a cervical, your neck has cervical muscles and bones. So I have something called cervalgia because I was so busty. Basically,
I don't think people realize. Like, I had a coworker who had it done, and she's in her mid 20s now, and she lost those. Taking 10 pounds off of there allowed her to lose 70 pounds elsewhere, and it completely changed her life, her personality. Like, having a reduction was one of the best things that's ever happened to her. I mean, I think we make light. Yeah, people will make light of it, but I think, carrying that much weight in that particular way, so it really like affected your back and other areas. And
Absolutely. And I was a very, very thin kid too. Like I think I probably sprouted, if you want to say, at probably around like 13. So it was, I was like barely 100 pounds, and it was just like, come on, man. So I would get,
so it's making your muscles in those other areas really overcompensate.
Right. And and also affording bras that are that specialized, because at that point you're pretty much custom ordering things. I couldn't just go to Dillard's. I couldn't just go to Marshall Fields or wherever. Marshall Fields, I'm dating myself. But I couldn't just go. You can't just go to Victoria's Secret at all. And that's something that kind of hurts you too, because you want to wear the cute stuff like the other girls, but then you just can't. And then also, going to a private school where there were girls that didn't look like me, first of all, and then I'm like a stick with big old boo-boos, and they're just and so I learned to be funny. How about that?
Did you feel like out of place? Is that what you're saying?
Felt a little out of place, but you know what? I've always been a jokester. I was like, all right, well, if anybody just sees me like that, I used to call myself Penelope Melons. That used to be my like before before Full Metal Ratchet, it was Penelope Melons, bro. I used to be out here, bro. Oh man, I've always been like this.
That's
Full
funny.
Metal, bro. So I say all that to say that's how the process of me getting the card started. So I called a number, and there are, I think, give or take 12, 15 qualifying conditions that
this is like what year does it come to Ohio?
Oh, okay. I think it came to Ohio. Let's see. I will look. Medical.
Here, while you look that up, let's play a comment real quick.
Okay.
Well, actually,
Hi.
I don't have those. What?
Yeah, I'm pretty young.
Yeah, well, you should not be listening to this podcast. We're talking about weed and boobs. These children call in and they're like, "I love this app, Mom. I'm listening to weed and booby talk."
I know.
Person Full Metal. I've just been strolling around the site, and I heard you talking about this. And I don't know if you know them, but there's a website called HolisticCannabisAcademy.com, and they are practitioners themselves in medical marijuana. The reason I mention them is I did actually do the voiceovers to quite a lot of their introduction videos to their different members.
Interesting.
And it all seems very legit to me. A lot of them prescribe CBD oil rather than the THC. So, I mean, there are some benefits of THC itself as well. But yeah, check it out if you're interested in it. I know they'd be pleased that I'm sharing it with you, so fill your boots. Ciao.
You need to have him do voiceovers for us.
That was cool. His voice was... I understand why he does voiceover. He's got that... I like that. That was cool. I also wanted to get into voiceover work one day, but I don't know. I don't sound like a cool British guy, man.
Yeah, he's like, that cool Liverpudlian accent, and he sounds... you tune into a whiteboard video with a little happy...
Yeah. He's like, did you
hello.
like that?
Hello.
Like that at all.
THC. Top of the morning, do you? That's so insulting. I'm so sorry, smooth-sounding British guy.
So Miles texted me, "Thank you, Miles, for being my Jamie to my Joe Rogan. Love you, dog." He said September 2016 is when Ohio legalized. So I got mine October of 2020, and what I did was I called a number. Since it was COVID, everything was telemedicine, which was fine. And I basically...
Why did you wait so long?
Oh, I waited so long. Basically, I didn't really even know. So you're not supposed to do this, of course. But Michigan, since it was I'm right on the border of Michigan, it was just easier for me at the time, which I thought, to just go up to, drive up a couple basically 30 minutes, and just go ahead and just like how Indiana residents would go to Illinois, just go across, and you're not absolutely do not do this, is that is illegal. But that was what pretty much I was doing. Just go over to one state or a couple towns over, and I'm like right on the border. So that was pretty much it. But then, I waited for that. But then I got a little bit of extra cash around that time. I think we got a stimulus. Is that the first stimulus? Or maybe I sent some leftover.
Is there like a big cost to get the card?
It was a little bit much. Yeah, it was like $280.
Okay.
Yeah, it was $280 with the appointment and the like registering. So basically, the process is that I called. Like I said, I called a number. I set an appointment. I found some paperwork that was detailing my medical history that I had already from my surgery. So that was easy enough to obtain. And I just sent it over there. They they had me pay a deposit to set an appointment. I think my appointment was maybe the day after, a couple of days later. Excuse me. I had a Zoom meeting with a doctor. And he just looked over my medical history and discussed kind of different, things I already honestly knew, but I guess things that a doctor would tell a person that hasn't ever experienced, like, what THC was, what different types of methods of consumption that there are. So, like I said, there's smoking it, eating it. There are creams and butters to kind of infuse it into your body that way through your skin. You can spray things under your tongue or on your, on yourself. I've seen chapstick. Like I said, I saw water one time, but that was in Washington State.
So they don't limit medical, because I think anytime the government gets involved and wants to regulate medical marijuana, then they're going to have like 2 strains that you can choose from and call it the free market. Like, so you have pretty free reign, or how do you go about it? Do you go to like a dispensary? Like,
yeah.
So you can choose any of those creams or any of those options, or like, how's that choice? Yes.
So they go by days, and the day system is a little complicated, but unless you're consuming a lot or you're selling it on the side, the days, you're not going to run out of days. So the days system is supposed to probably curb that like mass buying or bulk buying thing.
So I take Claritin D, and I can buy it in packs of 10, 20, or 30, and I can only buy 30 for the pseudoephedrine that's in the Claritin D, so that it's sort of like what they've done to allergy medicine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
that's what you mean by it.
So
You're right. I can buy 10 days, 20 days of 30.
Right. Exactly
Okay.
like that. So like I said, now, you can have, but once you get the card and the access, absolutely. You can get any of the creams, lotions, butters, all the kinds of, different kinds of strains. You have access to pretty much anything you would like. And there are reciprocity laws. So I can go to Illinois and have access to their medical benefits as well. I can go to Michigan and have access to their medical or their recreational menus. Which are called the reciprocity laws.
So what are the different conditions that qualify for you for this?
So mine was because of the neck neck issue that I had. It was chronic. I guess they entered it as chronic pain. That is, I can't exactly remember the term, but it was like chronic pain. You can it's like cancer, ALS, HIV, Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis. Things like that. I think there's a few more, but things like that.
Okay.
Or the chronic pain.
Okay, so, and what did you qualify for?
The chronic pain one because of the neck issue that I have from my bubas.
You remind me so much of my coworker, Jessica Alsman. Alsman is hilarious because Alsman doesn't... Alsman doesn't feel comfortable as a person, and so she like wraps it in humor, and she's like, I can't just say my breasts give me neck pain. She's like, my boobies.
I've talked about my boobies so much though. Like I was Penelope Mullins in these streets. Now she's retired.
It's so sad that you put Penelope down.
I might bring her back, man. But it's less melon. It's less melon, man. They're like a Penelope pineapple or something. I don't know.
I feel like Full Metal Ratchet is the first time I saw it. I was like, that is so clever. That's so funny. So I think it's like a good evolution from Penelope Melons. And if you don't follow Full Metal Ratchet, follow her on Stereo, follow her on Instagram, follow her on all social media channels with that handle. TikTok is your specialty.
Yes,
we've done a couple of talks.
We're going back to TikTok too. I have some videos in the reserves today. I'm get back to reacting. I got time now.
Okay, so when you use it for pain, like use like a scale of 1 to 10. What is the effect? What's the pain?
What is it? Excellent example. So,
like give me a good example. Yeah. Like what does it actually do?
So when I got the surgery, I can give you 2 examples. So when I got the surgery, I got and unfortunately I didn't have the card at the time, so I was kind of I had to basically get it elsewhere essentially. But my method has always been what is called concentrates, which is kind of like a little subcategory of what I told you of the smoking and vaping and things. So you usually vape that. So you heat a concentrate, which is like they've extracted the THC in some way. And it usually looks like honey, or it looks like kind of, I hate to say it, but it looks like earwax. And they call it wax, or it's called a dab, or it's called concentrates. It all could be called oil, different kinds of things. But essentially, that's in the concentrates family. So that's where I like to be, because to me, it's less mess. It doesn't smell as much. It just kind of smells slightly, almost like if you had like a little essential oil diffuser that smelled slightly like cannabis instead of that heavy, dank smoke.
Skank ass, skunk crap smell. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's not me. That's not where I am. Okay, remember,
Tanner brought some over once, and like there were gummies, and he's like, "Try these gummies, bruh." And I opened them up, and it smelled like absolute skunk's asshole, and I was just like, "Yeah, like how? Why would anybody want to put this in their mouth?" I hate the smell of it. Like,
the smell could be a little turn-offish. I understand that too. But different strains have different smells. So maybe the strains that you've smelled are very, very, very strong. The smells are called terpenes, and it's that's the part of the plant that gives it the flavor. So some strains will smell like diesel. I remember there used to be, I don't know if it still exists, it probably does, but there used to be a strain literally called cat piss because it smelled so much. I know that sounds so crazy, but that's certain strains do smell that very dank. And that's kind of the word that people use, dank, and very, loud, and smells so much that you can hear it. That's what loud is. So you ever heard of Rolling Loud, like the festival, the kind of stonery festival?
No.
Rolling Loud. Well, that's where I guess that phrase would come from, Rolling Loud. You're gonna understand so many more terms and like cultural references after this. I'm hoping that you will.
I'm already like, I think I've got a tie-dye t-shirt I can put on. So.
Oh, we'll get you a drug rug. We'll get you one of those I used to wear them too. I used to wear them in college too. I didn't care at all. Those kind of knit, those kind of coarsely knit poncho kind of.
Yeah, like that looks like you're an Incan alpaca farmer, right? Yeah.
Right. I had,
but like more green, like less loud colors, more muted. Yeah.
We called them
drug rugs.
We called them drug rugs. They were my.
That's
I love
so
my
funny.
rug. So yeah, but
okay. So like,
the
going back to the pain, the example of the pain and stuff.
So pain. Okay. So when I got the surgery, I had some basically pain in my ribs, soreness and all that kind of stuff because, you're recovering from chest surgery essentially. So what I had was something called tincture. Tincture is THC and the CBD, which both are parts of the cannabis plant. And CBD, I'm sure you hear, everywhere now. CBD is legal because it isn't psychoactive. So if it's slightly psychoactive, but not really. Now you can have CBD, Chris, and not feel high, but also get the benefits of, okay, maybe you feel your muscles relax. If it's really good CBD, and it was not, I don't know. Some people clearly the market is really fluctuating, or what? I'm sorry, what was the term? The market is really flush with this product.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oversaturated, maybe.
Oversaturated, they're right. And so I would, if you ever do try CBD at all, just make sure you do your research or talk to me or something where you can actually get it, somewhere legit. But it is beneficial because it will reduce your pain. So that's what I had. I had a half THC and a half CBD tincture. And a tincture is something that you don't smoke, but you would just put under your tongue or put in like a shake or a smoothie. And that's what I did. So I would take because I know the opiate medicine that I was prescribed as well was going to tear me up. I don't.
In what way?
I don't react well to opiates. I usually get very nauseous, but I was kind of required to take them for a little bit, and Motrin. So me adding the tincture under my tongue when I had to take my the opiates made me not as nauseous and not throw up, because throwing up after you've just had surgery and everything is all bandaged up would be awful. So that's what I really I did my research and I really tried to find a product that would help. So that was something that was, to me, absolutely irreplaceable during recovery, was having that tincture. And then I was able also to wean off of that hardcore opiate medication a little bit sooner. Did I finish the bottle? I don't remember, but if I didn't, it was because the tincture just kind of allows your muscles to relax, allows you to rest and sleep. Is it going to take your pain away and kill it like an opiate would? No. But it will reduce, for me, it will take away that kind of achy feeling that is almost gone. And it kind of just takes your pain receptors, at least for me, and weakens them, but it doesn't deaden them. It weakens them just enough where you can go about your day, but it's not gonna, at least opiates for me are way too strong and they just take you out. You feel like you can't even move or, talk or do anything. So, and again, like I said, I always get super sick on them unless I have some kind of
I'm with
something.
you. I hate it. Like when I was 18 and got my wisdom teeth out and they gave me Vicodin, I just did not like the feeling. I did not like feeling disconnected. When I had teeth extracted, I just asked for the Advil or the hydrocodone. I've never taken an opioid except I don't think Vicodin's an opioid, but I didn't like it at all. I'm with you.
Hydrocodone is just the generic term for Vicodin.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's like I just don't. I'll just take Tylenol and Advil together. So like, give me a scale of 1 to 10 on pain pre and post taking this smoothie. Your smoothie. Your smoothie.
Soylent shakes. Do you know those? Have you ever had one?
Yeah.
I told you I'm a nerd, bro. I've been so long. I don't care about nothing. So, so when I got home, the most pain was in my ribs and I had a little bit of a caffeine withdrawal, which I didn't even realize. I'm so dumb. I had I had a really bad headache, and I could not figure out why. It was because of coffee. And so a bit of that was that. After I had a cup of black tea, I was cool. But I was like, why is my head hurt so bad?
That's yeah.
That was almost worse than the rib pain.
All right.
So
when you don't have your caffeine, you just feel so disoriented and disjointed, and you feel like garbage.
Oh, trash. So Miles was like, those stupid cafe pills, which I still take. I'm sorry. So the pain when I got home, like I said, was mostly concentrated in my ribs. And I would say it wasn't that bad, but it was very achy. I would say maybe a 6. And then after you take the Norco, maybe a 7. But after you take the Norco, which is what I was prescribed at the time, and I had a little bit of the tincture, which you put under your tongue and then swallow with some water or whatever. I think I had a swallow at the time, probably. And just kind of wait. I think you know what I watched, which was so funny? I watched Back to the Future. And I was like, this movie is so good. So good. You just watch like so complex with the characters and the technology. And you get really philosophical, like, man, that's what they thought. That's what they thought. So I was in another space. I was in Back to the Future land. And he, so basically, the pain maybe started out as 6, but during the brunt of my recovery, which was, I would say 2 weeks where I was pretty much bedridden. It was, I wouldn't say bedridden. I could get up and things like that. It wasn't like I had a BBL or something like that where you really, that's bedridden. But,
right.
I could use a bathroom and things like that myself. But I say all that to say the most pain that I had was probably at 7 at a most from the ribs and the headache, and the least amount of pain probably after tincture plus regular medication. The normal I really honestly think I took for maybe a week, and then the rest of it was that extra strength Motrin and the tincture, and I was good for the rest of my recovery, which was a solid month. And I really didn't experience very much pain. I got the stitches they weren't stitches. They were kind of like tape. The stitches kind of absorbed into my body. But when I had the tape removed, that only hurt a little bit. And I told my surgeon I was doing this too. I was honest. I said, I am a cannabis user because I know that messes with the anesthesia. So I'm like, okay, don't kill me now. I do this. I've been doing this fucking. And so, and she actually was based out of Michigan, which I said it's legal there. So it's not like she batted an eye or anything. So I was like, be honest. If you smoke cannabis or do any of that, always be honest with your medical professional, even if they TT at you because.
Oh yeah. I mean, like anesthesiologists make the most money because that's the most dangerous job. Exactly. That's the most dangerous part of surgery is the anesthesia. Because you don't want to wake up and not be able to move, and you don't want to OD. So that's an interesting point. So
my anesthesiologist was perfect too. I woke up like perfectly, like alive,
like Michael Jackson, but alive.
Well, damn, Chris, you're right.
So, let's talk about the chronic pain and the continuous use. Like, how does the medical marijuana help you now, just like on a daily basis? And what does it do for you, and how do you take it?
So on a daily basis, right now, I've been working from home. The majority of my pain probably just comes from, being in one spot for a year, and working at a computer, which honestly is not healthy at all, but I can't help what my job is, So
I'm sure, exercising almost daily, like you've been doing. Like I know if I go and work out at Orange Theory at the gym or whatever, I have like a exercise bike with a desk, on it. I got it for like a couple $100 on Amazon.
Cool.
Just doing that for 30 minutes a day just changes my whole I mean, you got to move. You got to get your lymph and your blood and all that shit moving.
And when it was COVID, a harder COVID last year, when everything was very, very uncertain, I didn't go out. I was a good I was a good citizen. I did not go out like that and go to gyms and things like that or do anything. So I know it really did come to a head in 2020 where I was like, I really do need to invest in my own card because first of all, the distance that I was going every day and just being paranoid, I was like, I don't want to have to deal with the legal ramifications right now at all. So I was just like, all right, let me just figure out a way to do this legally. And thank goodness for Penelope Mellons. She pulled it off, man. She always pulls it off, bro. And the place that I go now and patronize is right around the corner. And there's friendly staff, there's good security, and it's a good place. I'm happy. Now it's a little expensive. Now we can talk about the money. Woo! It's a little high.
How much more expensive is it go to a dispensary than it was like maybe just like calling a local dealer?
I don't know. I didn't really ever have a local dealer. It was either you get it from friends, maybe you slide somebody $10 or $20. But a dealer, I'm not entirely even sure what those prices were. To be honest, because again, private school plus liberal arts school, I was probably getting ripped off anyway, man. If you
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't no honesty.
Yeah, that Shell station by Park Tudor is like, just dealers hoping to see. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't exactly, honestly, even know. I don't know, but I know that a little cartridge is what I have usually, and those go between $40 and $60. And that lasts you. That lasts you. Probably someone who doesn't have a high tolerance with me, that would probably last a month. Maybe closer to maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Me, it lasts about a week. Only a week. If I get one, I give it say Wednesday or Thursday. I usually probably get one once a week.
Okay, so when you take a hit on your vape pen, I mean. I only can tell you, like, the closest these are the times I've been high. There was the laughing gas at the dentist one time, which was awesome, and I was floating through the clouds.
Yeah.
And then there was, I took a Valium during my divorce when I was super stressed out, and I just, like, it changed my life, and, like, took a Klonopin another time, and like I was just relaxed and super chill and giggling. Like that's, it was like,
oh man, Klonopin used to be very important to me.
when you were going through a divorce and like you are under attack.
So bad. Yeah.
Yeah, you feel.
I can't even imagine.
Man, it just like it helped me get through the divorce grief and move on with my life because it just like totally lifted me out of it. But like. If I took it now, it wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't feel anything because I'm happy, but man.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know exactly what high feels like in terms of marijuana, but like if you were to describe the feeling of your vape pen versus like, when you're 18 with a joint, not at your private school, like, what are the differences between those two feelings, or does it just not really affect you? Like, does the vape pen just kind of take the pain away and you're at normal, as opposed to like, you're not high, quote unquote?
Yeah, I would say so. What's really funny is when I was in high school, right, I had to hide it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right. And I'm if you talk to my mom, she was like, she was terrible. And so I used to make it like these like fake little bongs, right? And so what you used to do, it was so cracky. Oh my God. And you take a water bottle and you fill it like slightly up with water. Then you burn a little hole inside of it to stick some foil. You make a little foil bowl and that's hollow. So air can get through, but it has a hollow hole. So you make a little bowl and you make it into a little tube, almost like a cone shape. You make a little cone shape that gets thinner at the bottom as it goes. That's where you would put a little bit of weed in, and then you would light it, and then the smoke that you pull from the top of the water bottle. You made like a little makeshift bong. I used to do that all the time. And then, oh my God, I would seal it with gum, dude. Oh, Lord.
What?
And it actually tasted pretty minty fresh.
What in MacGyver is this?
It was Stoner MacGyver. Every stoner has had a MacGyver moment, let me tell you. I've done the apple thing. The apple thing does work. It does work.
It's hilarious.
So yeah, Stoner MacGyver is one of some of the funnest things. And honestly, you would think like, oh, you're doing drugs. That's actually the most wholesome fun because you get so creative. You're not out here hurting anybody, driving around looking for
arts and crafts with your friends.
Crafts. Let's hollow out this. Let's find things to smoke. So I say all that to say, now I guess it's just kind of part of my life. I don't know. I'm sure people may even be like, oh my God, you smoke? Or what? And then other people are like, yeah, I just smoke. That's just her. So it's me. It's a part of what I do. Like I said, I'm active. I try to be as active as possible. I'm sure there are people that clearly stereotype people who use cannabis and are stoners or self-proclaimed or whatever. But for me, it's just a part of my lifestyle. And I enjoy working out while, I guess, toasted, you could say, because you're able to be more self-aware in yourself. And that's what I guess the best benefit of cannabis is that I can tell you, Chris, is the self-awareness, the mental self-awareness and the physical self-awareness, where you can feel your body in ways that you've never really have had access maybe neurologically to, if that makes sense. It does not.
Does it mean like it kind of takes away the anxiety loop in your head and allows you to be a little more present?
Yes, it does, depending on the strain. Now, if you have a strain that is maybe like a sativa, indica and sativa, that was awesome. There's indica, hybrid, and sativa. If you think of it like a spectrum, the sativa end is the most energetic, kind of uplifting strains, and the indica ones would be the ones that just relax you the most physically and mentally. Closest to it, I don't want to say a depressant, but ones that chill you the most. So with you, depending on where you are in the spectrum or where you want to feel, that's how your mind and your body would respond. Now, of course, everybody's bringing their own mental whatever to the experience. If you're a more anxious person, I've had more anxious days where I'm like, oh my God, I shouldn't have had that. It's a learning experience, but having a medical card allows you now to be able to know exactly what whatever you're consuming. And that I think that's a good thing within itself.
Yeah, that's the biggest benefit of legalization and decriminalization is that you've taken drugs out of the cartel's hands and you've put it in the hands of people who are passionate about their product. And you've taken, bathtub gin, basically, that is making people go blind and putting them in liquor stores where you've got a passionate clerk, Hotel Tango that's making distills, it's a local distillery that's passionate about making, I think that's such an important thing. And that's why you see in Portugal or Chile, when they legalize all drugs, the overdoses just completely are eradicated because you're taking it out of the hands out of evil people who are doing it for just pure profit, no matter the human cost, and putting it in the hands of people that are eager to serve their customers and have a special care. And, I'm sure that when you go and talk to folks at your local dispensary, they care about you and your experience and what you're getting and know their product. And, how do you rely on them on what you choose? How do you know what you get and how do you know? And I want to go back to kind of like that feeling that you get of settling in your mind. Like how did you hit on the right one? Like, what's that process like?
Yeah. So when you go to a dispensary, some of them are, I've only really gone to one or two in Ohio. But the one I go to the most, and what I'm doing is sending you a picture, Chris, right now of what I'm talking about, so you have some context. But so when you go into and you choose a product that you can look online, there are plenty of websites that just give you an online menu, and you just go ahead and pick. It will break it down by indica, sativa. It'll break it down by flower, vape, edible, or tincture, or something, or other. Sometimes they'll sell batteries. Like I just sent you a picture that there's a battery, and then the cartridge goes into, you don't have to buy a battery though, every single time. You just buy the cartridge. So usually I will go straight to the cartridges because that's how I like to, that's my method of consumption, I guess you would say. And I'll look for mainly indica. For me, I know my body, and indicas for me help physically lax any of that back pain that I feel, because I do have scoliosis as well, and my spine just curves slightly. I think it's to the left. I'm not sure. Everything I own in a box to the left. I don't know. Anyway, so my spine would be, having a booty on her, and so sometimes it just starts to hurt. And like I said, I've also been trying to work out and swim, and I just got some exercise cards that are fun. I can't wait to use those. They kind of just, you pick a card and you do that workout in the day. So I'm going to try that. So when you are working out and your muscles are tearing and that repair, things like tinctures and things like those creams actually do work a little bit, because similar, if you do like a little bit of like the cream and then some icy hot, you're good, because it settles into your muscles and helps. What THC also does, and CBD, they're both anti-inflammatories. So they will take away that inflammation. And today, for example, I got a colonic done. Bruh.
What?
Yeah, because I heard your co-host talk about them and Quisha. And I was like, oh, okay, that sounds good. Oh, bruh.
How did it go? How do you feel?
I feel okay, but during it, there's something apparently called the vagus nerve, VAG.
Oh, yeah, the vagal nerve, yeah.
Whoa, okay, that I got stim. Woo! Oh man, I did not feel
okay,
good.
So the vagal response, which I have every time I have blood drawn or anything. So your body feels that it is, and I don't know why it does this. This is stupid, but your body feels it is under attack, and so it's overwhelmed with chemicals, and the vagus nerve will shut down, and you collapse as if you died in front of the bear. But so like when I got blood drawn a few years ago, like I passed out and then woke up and projectile vomited all over the place.
Oh,
and so did you pass out, or did you just start to feel like super cold and weird?
I felt super hot, and again, mind you, I'm having a colonic, so I'm moving, and
low blood sugar. Like if you've ever had that feeling of like hot and cold and low blood sugar and you're going to pass out, that is exactly what it feels like when you get kicked in the balls as a man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that you've experienced somewhat what it's like, but
Miles,
intense.
Mark, let me apologize to you, sir.
Did you kick him in the balls?
Because I used to nut check him a couple times. I'm so sorry, sir. I'm so sorry, sir.
You get the vagal response plus the pain. It's horrible. You know, women always go, "Oh, it's like when you get punched in the titty." It's not even close.
No.
It's horrible.
Man. Yeah, I had that today. It was jacked up. It was towards the end of the session, thank goodness, but I say all that to say, yeah, I had a vagal response. I did throw up, but the therapist was there, thankfully. And once I got my bearings and everything, I was like, oh, but yeah, I started sweating. I started getting it was just very, very, very intense today, man. Oh Lord, I had to take a nap. I just woke up an hour ago.
Do you feel like lighter or cleaner or what?
Oh yeah. I do feel lighter. I do. I get the benefit of it because I know my range of motion, and also sometimes my family has a history of digestive issues. My poor grandmother, she has had GERD surgery before, and she's still, depending on what meals that we have, that will throw up. And my mom, she used to get so nervous, has anxiety, used to throw up before her athletic matches when she was an athlete. And me, I don't throw up very often, but I do have a lot of just nervousness. We all just have nervous stomachs, and all of our anxiety just always sits in our stomachs. So I wanted to try to get more serious about my gut health, because I know, like, if I'm going to try to get healthier, you got to start there. So
right.
I can't eat all this food that I feel like is quote unquote healthy, and then also, already have just all of this built up, which, oh Lord, oh my God, I couldn't even, it was like numb, man.
Well, hey, before we start wrapping up here, we got like a bunch of questions, so let's go through and listen to some of these, and then we'll kind of end it. So let's talk to Sash.
So my question is, babies or scabies?
Babies or scabies? Y'all,
I mean, I guess
they be finding these questions.
Which one what? What's the question? Like, which would you rather eat?
Oh.
So I don't know.
Oh, I just thought in general. I have scabies though, sir.
Here's your BFF.
As a medical student, medical patient in Washington, I use CBD and THC oils and creams and things as muscle relaxants and a natural painkiller. And they work fantastic, and you don't have any kind of hangover like a painkiller, a ibuprofen, or something kind of like that.
Now, what? All right, Miles. What? It was Miles. What hangover do you get from ibuprofen, you lightweight?
Well, you know what? I'm going to explain exactly why he had lightweight. He got kind of weak DNA, my poor friend, because he had Graves' disease. Yeah, his poor DNA.
Oh, yeah.
He had Graves' disease. Legit. And so he is immunocompromised. So yeah, he was suffering a little bit after he got his shot. It took him out a little bit. But I'm very glad he didn't get COVID. So I was like, bro, just take a couple days, chill your ass out. But he's good. But that's why he's very sensitive to certain medications, and he can't have
people
no gluten.
should not and people should not like fuck around with Tylenol and ibuprofen. Like Tylenol is like the number one killer in drugs after, some of the heavier stuff that you see. Oh yeah, my mom's a nurse, and she's like, never ever ever take Tylenol. She's like, it fucks your liver up. These people will take an Advil like it's an M&M, but because they just think it's safe, but in the early days of COVID, that's what happened to Miss Pat's son, Nikea. He took an Advil, and Advil opened up certain channels within your body that let the virus just like replicate faster. And so Advil, these are very
that episode. That was terrifying. Yeah. And I did give my little $20 to, I don't know what the hell I thought I was helping, but I was like, I was scared for her, man.
Honestly, bad. You need to not mess up. I mean, so when I listen to this, it's almost like what you're talking about is like I take a ton of vitamins. Like I take turmeric and
I take those
vitamin D
and ones. Oh yeah, you like turmeric too? Turmeric is tight. I love golden milk.
Yeah, so it's like it sounds sort of along those lines. So let's hear from Nathan.
My name is Randall Weems, and I'm not very particular on marijuana, but I also do like soapbox car racing, chemistry sets, and fresh prodigitation. I also good at magic cards. Maybe you guys should talk about that some. Have some more variety to your show. Thank you.
I think he's calling you a nerd.
I like Randall Weems. You the man. That made me laugh. I don't know why. I don't know. I just it tickled me.
Weirdo. Let's hear from Hashem.
If you actually sit down and rub my cock, then yeah, you fucking. All
right. These people. Do you get these people on your show? Because whenever I do a stereo, I always get somebody. somebody like him.
Some excellent folks in the Coming to America episode, which is the latest one on Full Metal Ratchet that's available. Oh yeah, shameless plug. We going in, but yeah, the Coming to America episode that had some great stereo folks coming in. So you gotta have the balance. Gotta have the balance.
I get some serious people, but I get a lot of trolling on mine, and I don't know if it's because like I've got 13,000 followers on this silly app, and I don't know if that's what causes it. It's just
maybe because you're verified and people think you're important, and it's just like
right.
Yeah.
You take this app way more seriously and use it way more often, and like people should follow Full Metal Ratchet. She should have a badge, not me. But here, let's hear more from our buddy Sham.
Listen, the vagal response is when you suck my cock. Yeah. Your body feels my cock down your throat. Fuck, feels awesome there, dude.
That boy, he's probably so lonely.
I know, really. Get a life, kid. All right, let's listen. Name. Let's hear from the Messiah.
I'm not against marijuana, but how about the chronic users? Like you can overdo something. Too much of a good thing can be bad. Like some of these chronic potheads, they're unconcerned, they're stupid, they're lazy. And I'm for decriminalizing marijuana. And Joe Biden could do it, but he's making excuses. Bernie Sanders was president. He said he would sign an executive order to decriminalize marijuana and expunge the record. But not Joe Biden. Joe Biden recently just fired 5 White House staff for smoking pot legally, not illegally, but legally.
I saw that.
Joe Biden has a track record of being, locking people up, his horrendous crime bills and so forth. There's no hope with someone like that.
So, all right. The first one is, these two comments are very, reflective of a lot of people, okay?
Yeah, and that's why I did bad users.
Pot users are stupid, lazy, they don't do anything.
Yeah.
But Joe Biden is terrible because he is mean to them. Then stop stigmatizing people in the way that you did. And Joe Biden, the follower who just does what is popular, is going to probably make it legal. I get, so the medical marijuana thing, obviously my views on all this stuff are outdated, and I thank you for kind of explaining a lot of this stuff to me. But do you worry about getting pulled over? Do you worry about other people stigmatizing it, or the dumb Joe Biden stuff where, even if it's legal and you have a medical card, you're going to get penalized for it in some way?
So and this was a good comment that gentleman made, even though, he does reflect a lot of the attitudes around here. Even though I am myself, I'm still in a very red state where the Midwest, it's not federally legal and things like that. So, but I know that for me, the benefits outweigh the risks. When I ride around with it, they give you a kind of Mylar sealed bag so that you can, if I'm pulled over, I haven't been, the place where I go is so close to my home that I don't know, I feel like the chances are low, but if it does happen, it will be sealed up in a bag that's not open for use. And with the chronic user thing, I understand that. So basically what the person, I guess, is saying is that they feel like certain people who smoke all day, every day, are just probably leeching off of social benefits or something like that, or just completely unmotivated to live life or something like that. And I completely understand. So some people absolutely use cannabis to curb depression and to deal with their mental issues because we don't have resources available as much as we say we do. We just don't. So it's a gateway drug in that people use it to curb their mental illnesses. Well, of course, it's going to be a gateway because those mental illnesses don't go away. And while cannabis can help you get through the day, you have to combine it with a lifestyle that is healthy, and have people in your life that support you no matter what you do and who you are. Now, I'm not, if I had a child that's my age, would I pass the J? No, because I'm probably not going to be one of those girls that's like, Canna Moms, Coco Canna Moms group meeting on Tuesday. Child,
What is that? What is that?
You see them like kind of pop up these like kind of like, oh, I'm a mom, but I'm a stoner. Like, it's so fun. I'm a Canna Mom, or like, it's like, sis, calm down. I don't want you to not, be appreciative of what you do. But it's like, would you do that if you smoke cigs? Like, oh, Marlboro Moms meeting on Thursday. Would you do that? Like, no, like, it's not, it should be as regular. It should be as regular. If you want to do that, that's fine. That's fine. But I still understand that there is unless my child is ill, has seizures, has cancer, has something that I know medical cannabis will absolutely increase their health and function of their lives. I'm not going to encourage my children to smoke weed, especially if they have depression or anxiety that I know is in my medical history that I have and I may give them. Because I know that I have these issues, I'm hoping that I'll be able to identify them in my kids if I do have them, so that I don't have to, so they don't have to necessarily turn to weed like I had to. Because I was prescribed Klonopin, and it's interesting you mentioned that. I was prescribed it, and I feel like I got very addicted to it. And for maybe a year when I was in college and going through depression and going through the anxiety of always being in a school that was just cold, and the weather temperature, because Ohio, so the just seasonal depression always hits me very, very hard. But I was given this little pill all of a sudden, and my world started to revolve around it. And that's not good. And that's what addiction is, to me, at least for me. So with Canvas now, I can openly talk about my goals. I can openly talk about things that I want to do, because I guess I don't judge myself anymore for wanting to smoke.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter what anybody else thinks of it, because I don't judge myself for it. And if I want to take a break to save a little money, which I probably am going to do because I'm in school now. And like I said, I'm in school. I'm a part-time student. I'm a full-time employee. I have been for 5 years at the company that I work for. I work in IT. I love my job. I am good at my job. And I'm getting all A's this semester for the first time in a really, really long time. Because, Thank you. And I think it's not because of weed, but it's because I don't have the stress of, my anxiety. Okay, my smoking helps my anxiety. How am I going to smoke? Oh, okay. There's none of that anymore now that I have my medical card. Because I'm like, okay, I'll just go down the street. All right. I have a nice discipline to my day. So it just depends if you want to be disciplined in your life or not. If you want to be disciplined and have cannabis be a part of your life, I do. I schedule. I have the podcast. I have school. I have family obligations. I take care of my grandmother. I work from home. So, I mean, I don't want to say, I'm not lazy, but I mean, I can balance a lot of things. And I feel like cannabis helps me balance a lot of things because it allows me to not take on more than I can handle. And be present and aware. And I'm good at planning now. I'm more disciplined with my time. So I can be, I guess, because I could go through my day with, I get up, take a little puff, drink a little water, take my vitamins, go to the gym, swim for half an hour, listen to your podcast. I love listening to it in the pool because I don't swim, so I use my kickboard, but it's awesome. I love it. And, come out.
I remember the kickboards. It's like the little, looks like a little foam tombstone.
Yep, that's me. That is all me. I'm me for like 30 minutes. Like, I'm sure the lifeguards are like, bro, you can't get in the water. Not top of the morning tree, paddling around like a shark. And so, so if you want weed to take over your life and not demotivate you, it will. If you don't, then it won't.
Yeah. Very cool. I would love to end that, but I want to make sure that we play these last three from Siege, because that was like a great place to end. That was so succinct and I think a really good defense of this, and I think really well thought out. Yeah. So freedom. That's what we're all about here.
Freedom.
So let's hear these messages from Siege.
Made out of the hood, I say pop on some gangsta. My day one niggas, the niggas that I came with.
What?
I'm such a big fan of Chris. I love your podcast, man. Keep it up. I would watch it every single day. Psych, bitch, your podcast is dog water. It's trash, Chrissy. You're dog water, alright? Get off this. You went out of nowhere. I'm sorry. You're not entertaining at all. We'll play Fortnite or something. You're not good.
Aw, it was so nice. And then what happened?
I'm being cyberbullied by randos on stereo. What a
I
life.
swear, I was like, it was so nice.
Well, sir, my mother and tens of people disagree with you. I'm just kidding. My mom never listens to my shows.
Actually, my mom does. She's not listening to this one. I think she's watching Lovecraft Country.
Aw. Well, Aja, Full Metal Ratchet, it's been so great talking to you, and thank you for educating me on this topic. It was really interesting, and I do have a totally different view of all this stuff, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, not a problem. If you have any questions, if you ever want to try something, or if somebody ever comes just let me know, man. Just let me know.
All right. Listen, I don't want to end up next to the Cecil Hotel on Skid Road. You keep your weed to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
You're not going to peer pressure me into a life of crime.
Cecil Hotel. How you going to get to L.A.? Goodness gracious. Dang on. Chris crazy.
All right, Aja, I'll talk to you later.
All right. Have a good night. Thank you, Christmas, folks. Bye.